Hey there, this is Therese Skelly, and I am so excited that you are going to be listening to an episode of the Fiercely Brilliant podcast. Do you like those two words? Fiercely Brilliant. My hypothesis is that you are here for a reason. We all are. Our souls have led us on journeys that have very often taken some twists and turns, and sometimes it's not pretty. Sometimes there's struggle and there's loss and there's challenge, and in the middle of that, there's always a way out. And it's those times that often lead us into our great life and work. So you're going to hear stories in these episodes of myself and other beautiful people that share the journey. They share how they got to the place where they're standing, working in their brilliance, and being the powerful leaders that they are. So stay tuned and enjoy this episode. Hey, my friends, this is Therese with another episode of the Fiercely Brilliant podcast. And today I'm so excited. I have my soul brother with us today, Daniel John Hanneman. Dan and I started, oh my gosh, like 15 years ago. We connected. We share literally similar paths. We're like, I'll be doing something. And he's like, that's so weird. So am I. And we've been each other's clients. We have just deep, deep respect for each other's work. And so because I know where Daniel is, I'm like, oh, dude, you have to come on and share your story with my audience. So I'm so happy you are here.
So happy to be here, Therese.
Okay, so I've already built you up a little bit, like how cool you are, but why don't you tell them what you do and what you love about your work today?
Yeah, so I help higher level light leaders that are really wanting to rock it out in a big way. They have a huge purpose and mission inside them that they have not stepped in fully yet into. They may have had success, maybe they've had success in another industry or even as a light leader, but they know there's a whole nother level that they're needing to step into. And I help them to step into their power to do it, really. And then I help dial it all in from there as an intuitive business coach as well, with marketing and sales and all the rest of the stuff as well. But the first thing is really recognizing that, like I'm meant to go in this direction, and to help them to drop into that energy of that, and then start creating from that space, and progressively just start to let more of that in and bring that in then into structures and their systems or whatever, everything else. So that's what
the whole package. Yeah, that's really cool. I love that. Thank you. So we've talked a lot in our knowing each other. We've talked a lot about your dance with power, because you have the unique blend of being just wildly powerful. Like, you should see this man on how he can sell. Holy shit. He's just like, and you're so deeply, beautifully sensitive and connected to Jesus and the spirit world and the energy, right? And so I think a lot of people are kind of in that seemingly conflicted state. And so that's the focus for today. So I want you to start where you started. We're just going to have a cool conversation.
Yeah, I was always like the shy guy, growing up, and always have been seen that way. Even when I go to networking events these days, I mean, still a lot of people will be like, well, you're pretty quiet actually. And, like, I'm just introverted, I'm not that. But then when the stage, it's just a classic introvert, when the stage opens up and it's time to talk, look out! Like,
there you go. Right.
All right, now I'm talking. It's always been that way for me, and so usually people are surprised when they see me on stage. They're like, "Whoa, where did that come from?" Like, so it's always been with that sort of dynamic. And I've had an issue with power. We've talked a lot about it with you helping me out, but I can remember all the way back as a kid, just again, like in class, doing math flashcards and stuff, like being really good at math. And we do these contests around the world. I'd mowing people down. I would have this guilt, like, I shouldn't be so powerful. I shouldn't be able to dominate them so much. And, then I would lose on purpose. Like, I didn't do that everywhere.
Wait, hold on. How old were you when you were aware that, I'm shining brighter. I'm being more successful. I got that. So how old were you then?
Around 9 years old, I would say.
Wow. Even back then you knew it. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, so I realized this connection I had with, well, there in that case I was talented with math, but I started realizing I had this ability to connect with power, itself, like from the universal even. Like I just knew, like, man, if I focus on something, it's going to happen.
Right.
Like I did that as a kid. I tell my friends, they'd make fun of me or something. I like then we'd be doing something. I pick them up, throw them across the field or something. Like I'd be like, okay, I guess you guys are talking about something that's real there, Daniel. Or so kids would be like asking for protection from other kids, and because they'd see this show up in me, like, oh, you could protect me, that's for sure. And like, and nobody'd ever believe it though until they saw it in me. Like people in the gym weightlifting or something, and be like, wait a minute, you lift a lot more than I thought you would be able to lift, and things like that. So it's been an ongoing theme that I look soft, I look like I'm just this gentle wallflower, and then people see like this whole other side of me.
The Hulk comes out, right?
Right. And so it's been an ongoing thing, and I've always had this connection with spirit, and I go to church on my own and everything, and so I always knew like there was that connection. I didn't, call it source or whatever back then. I didn't know, but I knew there was this connection with power that I had, and I just played around with it when I was younger, and I didn't know what I was, much about it. But I know it's really intuitive too. Like I was able to, know things in advance that other people. It was uncanny. Like it still happens. Like I saw my daughter getting a ticket, and like 2 days later she got a ticket. Like like just like downloads and just downloading things. So, but whatever it is, what I found is just this whole idea of holding back. Seeing like men use power like over my sister, like she gets
meaning in negative ways. So power gets equated with force or manipulation.
Right. Assaulted and all these sorts of things when she was younger. And, I just made a pact with myself there too. It's like these progressive, like, I won't be like that. I won't be like that. I'm not gonna dominate, right? Like I see guys talk about just want to have sex with girls and like, okay, I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to be this guy. So shutting myself down though to the nth degree. And then, like having that play out where I'm just not really showing up in life, and so that's kind of how it went for a long time. I studied in psychology, creative writing, all these things at college. Then I'm like, okay, I'm going to get out and be a sales guy, did copier sales for a few years. So I broke through some of that at that time. Then I got my master's in clinical psychology to figure out more about, about all this stuff. And then, I ended up getting eventually into a private practice, and there's a lot, it's a big, long story in my whole life, but I ran into power dynamics. Like when I got my master's degree, they're like, okay, you're arguing too much with us, we're gonna have to hold you back, and you need reputation. And like I have always, when I stand in my power, not only do I see, but then they wanted to like totally use my thesis like in some big way afterwards,
right? So
it's like this my whole life to this day, even there's this whole thing of like, man, you're incredible. You're like the golden child and you're so wonderful. And then it's like, you're crap. You're the worst thing that's ever happened. And, like being judged and everything. And so that's been like that constant walk in my life. So what I've learned over the years with all that, without, telling every aspect of my life story here, is just that, you may as well go ahead and be full on yourself, because people will, the sense of outside judgment will come anyway.
Okay.
You could try to throttle it back and avoid some of it maybe for a while, but you end up getting judged anyway. Like people will see who you are ultimately anyway. And so what I've seen is like to get really praised and really seen in a highly positive light and see great results. But I've also seen the opposite, where people are like, you get horrible results. You're the worst thing that happened. Like I've seen both dichotomies in my life again and again. And I just, I've had to make peace with it over the years. Like, okay, that's just the way it goes,
Okay. So let's just go back over some things here, because in the spiritual, you play in the spiritual circles, right? Daniel's a healer. Daniel, helps people with, the quantum world. And I know people like soft Daniel. They like open-hearted, tender, and that's a yummy part.
But what I'm hearing is, so sometimes when the potent Daniel, the fire Daniel comes in and says, hey now, you are going to start getting clients, goddammit. Like, I'm going to put your feet to the fire. Then it's like, wait. Like, so talk about that, because it's like you have beautiful access to the both, or to the both. And I think you're disowning the both, and you're disowning the power part of it, has also given some rise to that, like people judging you because you were judging it. It wasn't, you told the story of it wasn't safe. Right. I determined that men with power are unsafe. And so I know your journey has been to, like, wait, how is power in my body? How do I use power? What's power for the good? Who am I with that? Right. So I know there's a whole bunch of stuff to talk about, but let's just go there a little bit more.
Right. I mean, the power as a man is a big one. You know, that's why I've been drawn to do series with men to interview them, and how they dialed it down, and, you know, what stereotypes do they run into about being a man and whatnot. So, but yeah, it's the idea of like you know, you're only a good guy, you know, if you dial back your power enough, is kind of like a message that I've gotten because of my sensitivity. You know, as a kid, I was already of the ideas that everybody goes ballistic about now. Oh, I'm a white guy and like I'm white privileged. Like I had all those ideas when I was like 10. Like I knew all these things. Like nobody told me, I just knew it, you know, like, oh, I see what's happening. So I have all these sensitivities. So like it's influenced how I show up in the world, you know, and so it's good in a way, right? I'm conscious, but there's a lot of like you said, it's, of course, it's not happening to me on the outside, but I'm judging myself, and then it shows up, you know, on the outside. Like, okay, you're right, you know. Like I mean, the thing that really messes with someone's mind, like my own, is to have a client where they get so much success working with you, and then they break contracts and they joyfully leave your presence because they can't take it anymore. They can't take your power, right? They can't take the power. They can't take the relentless progress that I put on the docket. I'm like, okay, you can go farther. No, you can go farther. You can go farther, until they're like, oh, I could, but I'm so tired of this now.
and instead of taking self-responsibility, they blame you.
Right.
You know, I thought you were spiritual and sensitive, and now you're just being mean and making me do sales calls. How horrible, you coach, right? So you really have gotten vilified. Like, this isn't made up shit in your head. You literally have gotten the hate letters, your client breaking contract. I mean, you have experienced it.
Right.
So what was a turning point when you, because, you know, we talk a lot about this, when you, because it's scary, right? In your mind, power in men is scary, men harm. And yet it's there in you. And I've seen it for 15 years. You're this man is just, holy hell, right? I've been on the other side of the meditations he does. I've been on the other side of how to sell. I've been his client as he's been mine. And so I know Daniel and his potency and his power. And to see him waffle on it was like, oh, dude. So what did it take for you to finally say, can I say, fuck it, I'm this. I am this, my great work, the best people I work with, I have to be this part of myself. I can no longer cut this off. So like, let's talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just getting tired of just holding it back, you know, like just continuing to see where there's more opportunity for people and they're not taking advantage of it. Like, yeah, you could be having these sorts of results. You could be taking these things further. But you have to make that decision and stop making the decision to stop yourself, basically. You know, like, okay, I'm just going to keep giving up. I'm going to keep just saying, oh, well, it is as it is. So the more insistent I am and the more persistent I am, I just find like eventually, you know, it breaks the resistance, you know, it just breaks people's resistance. And sometimes, it happens through nice healing modalities and stuff. I take people through stuff. People know me that way. Like, there's some people that wouldn't say I'm badass at all. They'd be like, oh, it just does these clearings and they're great. But I find like everybody needs something a little different, right? It's like some people, they really want it and they actually do want that from me. They're like, yeah, keep bringing me more of that fire, right? So so these days I attract more of the people that are ready for that. But historically it's been a mixed bag, in the past. Like there'd be, maybe half the people like that, half don't. And there's been swaths of my career where I just dial it way back. I'm just like, okay, they can't handle it, because I was working with a lot of healer type of people. I'm like, okay, we're going to help them out. We're going to help them be able to tune in, use their gifts more, and get more clients than they would. But then got boring for me, right? It gets boring after a while, realizing like, I know I can bring so much more to the right people. And that's what's really changed.
That's the thing. That's the right people. So there's a pattern of being everything to everybody. And when we're on this healing thing, we can help everybody. But you literally are two people. I mean, literally, there's this magical mix. I mean, Daniel is so connected. He channels Jesus. He's so in tune. Like his meditations, his connection is amazing. And so people think, wow, you're so connected. So therefore you're going to be soft.
Right.
And then he's got so much freaking fire. I personally love the fire, right? That those people think, wow, you're going to be an asshole. And it's not true at all. Like it's literally this magnificent blend. Right. But I want to hear from you. What was the cost of not owning the power? Because I know, I've heard you when you get clients that you can turn the fire on and they're like, okay, dude, and they create tremendous success.
Yeah.
What was the cost to you, Daniel, of trying so hard? Because I know you got feedback that nice Daniel is valued, powerful Daniel is scary and to be subdued, like childhood stuff and your life experience. And so what was the cost of cutting off half of who you are?
Huge. I mean, I really think I would be, it's all theoretical, I guess. But I really think like I would have had way more impact already in my life up till now. And it's all, retrospective. It is what it is. But I feel like I would have impacted way more lives, and I would have generated way more revenue in my business too, because I would just be like, take it or leave it, like,
yes.
I mean, now what I do, I'll come back to your question again if we want to go deeper on that. But like, it's just, realizing that trying to water it down, will bring more people. I did find that for many years until it didn't work for me anymore, right? I brought a lot more people, built the bigger business and everything. Okay, had all that, been there, done that. But and when I'm stronger, there does tend to be, so far, and it may change again, but like in the past, like it would tend to cut down the room, like not as many people get in the program, it's like, like boot camp. Are you ready or not?
That's right.
And they're not ready. They're not going to come in because they already could see like, okay, I don't want to be with them.
Oh no, yeah.
With you. So now, thanks to you and what you've been saying, like it's helpful. Like I tell people before they hire me, I'm like, listen, you may think I'm just this really present, really high vibing, joyful guy, and I am. But I'm telling you, the fire is going to come, and just be ready for that. There's another side to me. And so later because otherwise what people say is, I had no idea you were like this. And they say it's a big surprise, right? So I'm like, nope, it's a mix of all of it. So you better be ready for that.
So this was from another one of my podcasts called You Should Come with a Warning Label. And basically you responded, and I'm like, you have a warning label, because you are not the soft, gushy, healer that people misinterpret. You are the healer with a whole bunch of fire as well. And so the warning label, it's magnificent. And now you can own it, and you don't have to apologize for it. And people aren't afraid when they show, you know what I mean? They know what they're getting into. And I know you get great results. So if somebody is in the place of like, I know I'm here, because I know, Daniel, what had to happen for you is you had to start in your mind letting go of some of the clients or some of the ways you had served. You just literally chop off portions of your business and your programming. And so it's scary, right? This journey into, no, I'm going to fully embrace who I am, which means saying no to that. So if somebody is there, what would you advise them? Because I know this has been a journey for you.
Yeah, if you're there, you got to jump into the fire. It's very easy. I mean, if you're like me, it gets confusing. You're like, maybe I should just go way in, just totally go into the namaste, and then then maybe I'll be liberated. Everybody will get liberated. We'll all be like, kumbaya, and everything's going to be fine. And
how did that work for you? You did that for years. How did that go, honey?
Work. I started off in this industry making fun of people that are just all namaste. So it's like that really showed more of my true nature right off the bat. But I tried to conform. I tried to be like this spiritual epitome thing that was so fake, really, for me. Ultimately, there was sincerity, obviously, in it, but ultimately is not the fullness of who I am. So I would say don't get caught up in the concepts of what it means to be this spiritually enlightened person, because it's just not true. There's spiritual, even just spiritual masters, like there's spiritual masters that will kick your ass all day. I mean, and then there's ones that are more like Eckhart. They're real gentle and soft, and there's all different flavors there too. So the idea, like there's this one flavor of spiritual teacher, a master type of person out there, that's not even true. So I had to learn these things, and I also had to learn that people in the spiritual world lie a lot, just like people overall. They lie a lot. They say, "Oh, I'm totally awake. I'm totally enlightened. I never get upset." I'm like, I can tell. Like, I literally have seen these people like get upset. Like, I just,
It's amazing.
It's like they're generally speaking, but then the specifics is where the truth comes out, and that's why I'm going to be increasingly controversial for people, because they're going to be like, well, that doesn't make sense,
exactly,
right?
Exactly. Well, if you think about it, we're all unique emanations of spirit, right? We all are here with our gifts, our purpose. Why in the world would it be like, oh, no, that's in you, but dial it back, be more like so-and-so? Like, that doesn't even make any sense just from an operating system, right? The magnificent fire that only you can bring in the way you can do is the source. Like, that it is how it's supposed to be. And yet our egos attached to, or our brains like, don't, it's scary. No, be like, shh, quiet. And so we try to put ourselves in boxes. And I know the pain you have gone through. I know the conflict. I know getting fucking hate letters from clients that are like, you're being so, now personally, because here's when you're listening, guys, I want you to think about who are the clients that would love this fit of me, this allness of me. I'm deeply sacred, and I swear like a truck driver, right? Like, and some people like it. Some people actually hire me for my potty mouth. So like think about, for me, when I be with Daniel, I'm like, oh my God, I would love to have somebody hold my feet to the fire and take such a strong stand, such a huge vision for me that I can't give up on myself. That's such a value to the right clients. Whereas another client might be like, oh, you're not letting me off on my excuses. You know what I mean? So the focus is, when you get the who right, then you can be of service at the highest level with all your gifts.
Right. I mean, it's again, it's like it's an insistence. It's that fire of just like, hey, you're telling yourself a story again. Like this, I tell myself, they come to me like, well, this is what just happened with this, potential client or whatever it is. Like, this is what happened, and this is what I think. And I'm like, you know what I think? And then to be able to reflect that truth to them. And again, the right clients, the right people will want that from you, of course. So that's what I find. But if they think you're just, sweet as pie, and that's all, however they see you, then the minute you bring any of that, they're like, wait a minute, this isn't what I signed up for. They don't want the truth. The more committed to this, it's got to be more spiritual. It's got to be more 5D. It's got to be more 7D. It's got to be, we need to not even be human basically anymore. We have to be something totally different. We can't have any of this going on. And, as long as I don't have to do sales, that everything's right for me. But then I don't know why my sales aren't better. But, is there a way to do this? And can we get rid of the word sales, by the way? And,
Woo, Nelly. Yes. Yeah, that's it. Well, so you fought to own your fire, and I will just share a story from you. I fought to own my being a healer. And it was Daniel, my friend Daniel, said to me, you understand that just being in your presence is healing, don't you? And it took me years. And Daniel, you were a big help in that. Like, just like, what, really? So it might not be your fire or your power. Maybe there's a healing gift you haven't owned. Maybe you're magical at marketing copy. Like it's about owning all the parts. But Daniel's story is great because seemingly they look like they're in conflict.
Right.
You know, the way society, it's either sacred or secular, it's spiritual or it's worldly. It's like there's seemingly a disconnection, and they're magically connected. And that's the show. Like, how can you be connected with all the parts of you being of highest service? Number one, you needed to make a decision about this has to live safely in me. I can be the conduit. And so do you have a story of like maybe working with a man? Because I know you're helping men do this. You have a story of a man that you were able to help, you know, because you're in mastery with this now. Have you passed this message on to anybody?
Yeah, being in their power as men, you mean?
Yeah. Helping men bridge this gap.
Yeah, usually what I see with men is they want to be nice guys. So they're like, okay, well, but they have that intensity inside themselves. So what they tend to do is what I was doing. It's like, I'm going to try to help all the underdogs of the world. I'm going to bring them all up. That's how I'm going to, you know, roll in the world. And you know, then I have to help them understand, like, okay, you realize you're just kind of apologizing for being who you are again and again by trying to serve that market. Like, you know, hey, you could be great like me. Let me just bring you up and all that kind of thing. And rather than just be yourself and, you know, attract higher level clients. So that's what I've definitely been doing with. I actually am just starting to grow to work with more men now, but you know, over the years, that's been definitely part of it, and just realizing that, you know, that it's okay to lead the way too. I think some men get so sensitive these days, like, oh, I shouldn't lead anymore, and you know, the women should take
the apology, right? Now we're in the apology phase of it,
Right. So let me take the back seat. We've seen it in the industry. Husbands take the back seat behind a woman leader, like, which is fine if it works for them. But usually, what I find is they're not being themselves. Now I'm not being myself because there's this construct I should get behind you and hide behind you, and then you'll lead the way, and then everybody everyone will change the world. And it's like, no, you've got to lead the way, being yourself, and then you have to be willing to. It's okay to step into your power and dominion in life. It's okay. It provides so much good in the world. People have judged it, like, dude, these powerful people, they're controlling everything. No, they're trying. Most of them are trying to do good in the world. They're claiming dominion so they can empower people. Ultimately, you can judge it all you want, but that's what they're really the divine mandate is, to empower people. And you know, it's not there to take away; it's there to give to people. So
well said.
We need to step in that dominion that we can step into. Yeah,
we can't serve if we don't own our gift, and that's it. And you have a beautiful example of owning the gift. So, what's it like today? Kind of, because you've reconciled the conflict. You have the both. You have the and you weave them in. So, what's it like being in your body versus the Daniel that was so disconnected from himself and trying so hard to, you know, be good, soft Daniel? Like, what's it like today? In your body, like, yeah, I can turn this on.
Well, the funny thing is when I got into this industry, right? Like, there was a time there when I was just like, oh, here we go. We're going to everybody's, you know, but I was still working with people or trying to just get it going, right? So it was great, but like I was in that fire, no excuses, all that stuff. Then I saw there were so few people around. I'm like, well, I guess I have to adapt. I'm going to have to water it down. So, but some of the things that are different in my body back then is it was a little bit too, it was too much of a push. It was like, it was a little bit too tense. It was like, I was putting so much into it. It worked, but at the same time, wasn't probably sustainable long term, that kind of energy. So then I softened, and then I went to the other pole of it. Ultimately, over the years, like, it kept softening more and more until I'm like, Yeah, just roll out of my bed and we'll just kind of see what happens today. All the way to the other end. And now I'm in an integrated place
Yes.
where I'm just like, okay, like I want a simple, right now I'm looking for a simple business model. So I've got a simple business model, just working with high-end leaders. I've
Mhm.
got dreams and visions of impacting lots of, hopefully millions of people's lives, especially men and women who
Yeah.
have these weird ideas around power and men and all this stuff. So I've got a series I've put together on that. And so I have some bigger ideas for bigger plans, bigger scope things, but also I like to try to keep my life, relatively simplified so that I'm not out of balance. I'm not like
Yes.
wildly like
Yeah.
way too tense and breaking down in that way. So yeah,
That's
it feels good. It feels like I just
mm.
want to step into it more and more now.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah,
Nice.
the yummy energy of it. Yeah.
What a beautiful. This is perfect, right? Especially for men. Men are more stereotyped. You either and then apology. You have to be you're either this way or a narcissistic asshole, or now you're just you're a soft beta boy, right? And so for you to like show the journey, and I know the results we get, and I know what you can do, and I know your journey, and so I so appreciate you sharing this. So I'm assuming people will want to find you and follow you, and where can they go do that? And do you have a free gift for the folks?
Yeah, you can go to yoursacredpurpose.com. I do have an amazing meditation there for you to take advantage of. It's the Meditate, Make Money meditation. And there's something about it. People just really get hooked on it from the people I hear back from. So you open up your energy, your chakras, get the abundance energy into you, turned on inside of you. And you can start asking questions within that energy of like, what wants to happen right now, and just start to listen to that and let that in. And we have shared colleagues that tell me they just keep listening at that audio, and they just, man, they've even brought it into their membership portal and whatnot, like, because they believe in it so much. So yeah, it definitely works if you work it right. So, but yeah, getting into that energy and then just allowing that energy to carry you, because it's about our frequency. It's about what are we opening to and allowing to come through. And it's a great way to do that every day, just listening to that meditation.
I love that.
Mhm.
Well, I love you, my soul brother. Thank you so much for sharing. It's been deep joy to be with you on the journey and see where you are today and integrated and owning that magical power you have. So thank you, because a lot of men wouldn't do the work to get to where you're. A lot of people wouldn't do the work, right? It's hard when you're like, oh, it's not like everybody else. Holy shit, And so I just want to applaud you for that. So thank you so much for listening. And Daniel, is there anything you want to say before anything your heart is just screaming at you to share? Any last thoughts?
One last quick thing is just be willing to do your thing and be you fully. There's a lot of people that, to this day probably still think, oh, I'm still waiting for him to just be a spiritual teacher. Daniel there. I'm just waiting for this or that, with don't worry about it. Like when people learn about the scope and nature of what I can do for people at a light leadership level in their businesses, they're blown away. They're like, I didn't know you could do all those different things. And so people that really want that are looking for that, it's highly, highly valued. Whereas, like if I just listen to everybody else, I wouldn't be doing that. Oh, I'm a spiritual teacher and healer. That's all I do. I just do channeling. I guess it's my gig in life. When you know it's not true inside your being, just don't listen to all these concepts about who people think you are or who you think you are. Like just be the trueness of who you are. Don't ignore those other feelings you have about who you believe you are. Follow through on that. That's all.
And find supportive people who say, I see this in you. Let's pull that out, right? Like that's a really imperative, is finding support. All right. Thank you so much for listening, gang. And I hope this has touched you. We all are dancing with something. There's always something that we're not owning. Either it's more power, our voice, our healing gifts, what we really want in the world, right? And so I love this episode because it's showing you like, whoa, what am I seduced into thinking I have to be? Where am I not just stepping in? So I hope this show has inspired you. Feel free to send it on to a couple people that are going to just love this show. All right. Peace and blessings. Thank you so much now. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, this is Therese, and I'm so excited that you were with us today for another episode of the Fiercely Brilliant podcast. You know, if you are inspired to get to that brilliant place, if you heard some wisdom today that made you think, yeah, I need some help in that area, I would encourage you to have a conversation with me. Super simple. You just go to thereseskelly.com/let's connect. It's a no charge, no pressure conversation. And if I can support you to clear the blocks, to really step into that brilliance, oh my gosh, it would be a delight. And I'll be honest with you, we'll just have a great conversation and see where we can take it. Peace and blessings. Bye.